staff, like your maintenance workers, school psychologists, all those folks that may be unaffected may be asked to assist with communication, evacuation, and reunification. This photo just demonstrates how quickly things will happen and how many cameras will come out of nowhere on an incident. And again, one of the assumptions that we work under is that that's a component of what we have to deal with in the unified command at the command post is determining where to put those folks. But this is, again, just an idea of what you will find as you walk out of your incident. Media will be probably everywhere, and not only local, but national media will be there. I want to talk a little bit about communication and the what we expect and what will happen and the important pieces of it. We expect that you'll be prepared to receive and communicate accurately, timely information, whether it's within your own district, in your own communication department, or for your small district, like Superintendent Gordon said, the help of the County Office of Education's communications department. But it's really, really important to get accurate information out to staff, the public and media, and parents and guardians as soon as possible. The other real big piece here is that there's coordination between first responder agencies and the schools, whether it's a district, the school district, or but about the incident, so that there's one message. Not very good with if you have the police department saying one thing, the fire department saying one thing, and the school saying a different thing. And that's part of our unified command and getting the accurate information out. Again, just another photo of what that kind of looks like. You can see CNN's there, lots of media. And they talked about earlier in the earlier presentation about getting what information to get out as soon as possible, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in reunification and evacuation. Part of the unified command is having somebody, a public information officer, and it'll obviously we want to get information out to parents pretty quickly, just because those folks are going to be on your doorstep before you know it, and so yes, there is consideration, but it's all going to depend on what's going on at the time, and there may be a time where after we get parents notified, we want to let staff know what's going on first because we want to get them evacuated, let's say. But there may be a time where we have to have to talk to the media before we give staff the, information, because we're evacuating them to, we may be huddling them up there and giving them the information. So it's all going to depend on the incident, but certainly, it's important, and that's why having somebody from the school district at the unified command post offers that up and helps prioritize as well. One of the other expectations for evacuation reunification is a general expectation in law enforcement in general that the schools will be able to assist with the evacuation of the school site and are primarily responsible for reunification of children with their guardians, which obviously is very essential to the parents. But we also understand that we will bring a lot of people to come help. And in Elk Grove, there's different ways to reunify, there's different ways to evacuate. But in Elk Grove, we have a system, we're going to go through this here pretty quick on how we do it. But evacuation planning and pre-identification of potential reunification areas are critical to how rapidly this can occur. So you do want in your planning to pre-identify places. That doesn't mean we're going to use any of them, but if you have them pre-identified, we're able to go to you or go to your plan and say, hey, what relationships have you built with maybe the church down the street or whatever the reunification location is, and maybe there's already something in place. Now, again, there's a chance that we won't be able to use it for whatever the reason is. The emergency is so large that it's too close even, to reunify there or evacuate students and staff there. It may be that it's downwind from, a gas main that's exploded. But having them pre-identified will at least give us the ability to say, hey, what do you have? Where are we going to put things? And that pre-planning is very, very important. But understand with the evacuation and reunification, the reason we have this expectation that school administrators will do this is that we have our primary focus, which is here on the screen, and that's dealing with the crime scene. And so we, with all that going on and under the unified command, it's real important to be on the same page and pre-plan all you can, and again, exercise it as well. This slide illustrates that, your pre-identified location could be right in the middle of those news vans, and it's not uncommon that by the time the news media gets there initially, we may or may not have the ability to tell them where to go. So that could happen. That could be your pre-identified location, like I was speaking to earlier, where we can't use that. We can't reunify people there. We can't evacuate people there. So just understand that having a couple of locations is very important. In Elk Grove, we have a tactical response vehicle, and it houses all of our information electronically throughout the district. We also have a reunification trailer. Now, for our reunification trailer, we have a system, and again, understanding resources, and this has been a work in progress for several years, but again, understanding resources, you may not be able to have this, but it's just something to start to think about in terms of organizing your reunification and your evacuation. We have these packets, and in these packets, we have the lanyards. In fact, why don't everybody put the lanyard that you got on your neck right now, just for demonstration purposes? So if you look on your lanyard, you have a card in there that's a color. It's a color, and I think they're all red, maybe 16 or 18, and they match these signs here. So the idea is this. Well, let me back up to the card. On the back of the card, there's information, for medical information, things like that the teacher can fill out. What our reunification plan does and evacuation plan does is we deliver these to the classrooms. This gives something for teachers to do while we're getting prepared to evacuate, occupies time. It also gives kids something to do. Put their names on there. They have it on the lanyard on. And at this point, we really encourage them, if they're going to use that social media that we're talking about and texting and things like that, to tell their parent where they're going to be. Once we identify the location that we're going to reunify at, we put these signs up. So, Tracy, you are red 16. So you would call or text your mom and say, Mom, at my reunification point, I'm in red 16, so go to the sign that says red 16, I'll be there. It does two things. One, it at least relieves the parent's mind initially that you're okay, and it also gives them something to do. There was some talk about, well, what if we at the school just did an auto dialer and told all the parents don't come to the school? That ain't working, right? They're going to be on your doorstep. So this is a good way for them to get information fairly quickly, and give the parents something to do until we can get folks reunified, or kids reunified with their parents. So we have packets of 50, and we have the individual life room survey in here as well. And what that does is, again, this is for the teacher to fill out who they have in their classroom, the student ID number, all that stuff. and assist with reunification. Once we have this list, we know who's in that group. We take them either by bus, walk them, however we get them to reunification location. And this is our accountability. Helps us account for every kid that's in that room once the lockdown happens. Additionally, some markers and things like that in the package. We're able to evacuate 5,000 people if we need to. And we have, in Elk Grove, we have some mega campuses with multiple schools on a campus, and in the height of things, there were almost 5,000 kids between the two schools. So that's kind of what we planned for. But this is exactly what it looks like when we reunify. We also have these things, witness cards. So if we know that somebody's a witness right away, we can identify them, and law enforcement can go through that process of interviewing, things that we talked about in the earlier slide. Again, the trailer's self-contained, has all the information in there. It has all of our cards and lanyards. In fact, we have the trailer in Tahoe out here in the parking lot if at some point you want to go take a look during the day. Plan, prepare, and practice. I think this is the key here. This is where you can help us, and we can help. You can help us help you. Again, kind of a refresher, but I want to point out a couple of things. As of January of 2012, the law changed and allowed you to elect to not put disclosed portions of your comprehensive safe school plan. This thing, everybody knows what this is, right? All the components in here, the one component in there that you don't have to, or the piece that you can take out, are the things that are the tactical stuff, your site maps, if you have them in there, aerial photos, things like that you don't want necessarily discovered by everybody. Because right now, if somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to see your comprehensive safe school plan, it's a public document. You have to show them. There in the handout, there's a FBI quick guide of active shooter. I want to point out that in one of the statistics on the right-hand side, the right column, under statistics, 93% of attackers planned out the attack in advance. So a little food for thought here. If 93% of them are planning it in advance, do you think that they might want to plan to look at your map of your school? Probably. They probably want to look at your shutoff valves for your utilities. They want to see what your escape routes are, right? So as much as that stuff that you have in your comprehensive safe school plan under the emergency procedure guidelines, that you can remove that and not give that out publicly. Now let me offer one other piece of information up for you. In the world that I live in, if I were a bad guy, I would go onto the internet to try to find that stuff too. If it wasn't accessible in this, and again, we recognize there's many components of this, but we're speaking to the one piece about the maps and tactical stuff. But you may have your map of your school on the internet for parents to look at. We recognize that back to school night you have to provide those things, but we recommend taking it off the internet. Don't put that on the internet. 93% of them are looking at your school in advance and pre-planning. Why give them that advantage? And again, as superintendents and leaders of the schools, ensure that all your schools have updated comprehensive safe school plans and emergency procedures guidelines. I know I know you guys have had them out there, but you may want to think about looking at them again and taking that piece out that the law says you can take out, and it's in the education code there. And then have schools disseminate the plan, because what good is the plan? Somebody said it earlier, I think Mr. Sellers said it, if it's on in the principal's office in the binder on the shelf. and the principal's, let's say the principal's the only one that reviews it. Not very effective. You want to get out to as many people as you can on your campus so that everybody knows what to do and how to respond. Again, I touched on this earlier. We have taken everything that all the school maps for all 60